Hey, welcome to the Dino and Joe show. Yes, it's been a long time. I am Dino, that is Joe, and we are so happy to be back with you.
Overjoyed, enthralled, every other superfluous word for happy.
Yes. So I think that we should start off this episode. It is our brand new season. It's what, episode 3.
Something like that. Yeah.
And we took a big hiatus.
Just not a big. It was it was a
No, it
gaping
was pretty
gaping
big.
hiatus. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
pretty
it's
big.
been pretty big.
Pretty big.
So we've had a lot going on.
A lot.
So we talked about this in the first season. I had moved to Seattle.
Mhm.
You still live in Chicago,
I do.
but you have a new address.
I do. Oh, so it's so funny. We decided it made the most sense to move 3 apartment complexes down, not complex, 3 apartment buildings down in the same complex. So we
you live in the
decided
same place.
exactly the same place, but 3 main buildings down, in an apartment that is bizarro apartment. So there's 107 and 108. They're on opposite sides of the building. So
Right.
everything is flipped for us. So our master bedroom used to be on the right and the office used to be on the left.
Right.
Well, now the bedroom is on the left and the office is on the right. So it took about a solid month to really stop reaching to the wrong side to flip a switch or open a door or whatever. But we got there.
So how many times have you walked into the wrong room thinking it's the other room? Like how many times you walked into the office thinking it's going to be your bedroom?
Never been that bad, but I have turned to go to the bedroom towards the office and saying, stop, you have to turn around. The thing that was the most in the master bathroom, the switch was always on the left-hand side.
Right.
And I still to this day flip it, but it's on this. It's very annoying, but we're happy here. We like it.
You have to do this. So Tiff has to go away on a trip, right?
Okay.
Something that you're not on.
Yes.
And you flip the rooms. Put them back the way you had them, right? Just put everything in that small office and everything in from the office in the master bedroom, and then just don't say anything. And then just see what happens when she comes home.
Well, okay. Here's the thing: when did mattresses get so heavy?
Oh, yeah.
We have a king mattress.
Okay.
I cannot move that thing by myself.
I can't.
I cannot. It is so heavy. It is ridiculously heavy. So that is probably not going to happen. I'll move everything else except the bed.
Okay, so we have a Sleep Number bed.
Oh yeah,
it's an air mattress.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard that thing is to move?
I am imagining it is very challenging.
I didn't realize they were dual chambered air mattresses because when we bought it, somebody came and set it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it wasn't your problem to deal with.
Right. When you move, they're like, oh, well, here's how you move it. Right. And so like, you got to take it apart. And I'm like, that almost required a college degree, let alone moving it. And it's like so many pieces. And then I'm like, I sleep really literally on an air mattress, a very fancy air mattress.
Hey,
that is my bed. Although I love it. And quite honestly, it's the nicest bed I've had, but I don't have a spring in my back, which,
that's
has
always
happened. So
helpful. Yeah.
So big changes with work, big changes with moving. You made the most I hate change least move I'm going to make because I literally moved inside the same building.
But you know what?
Someplace else.
It's nice. And we know we like it here. It's a great area. So, why the heck not?
No, not knocking it at all. I'm just saying, like, you just totally took the I hate change and you took it to that level of, let's look for something in the same place.
Pretty much. And it was the cheapest option in the area too. So
well, there's that too, right? Awesome. So that is kind of the whole reason for the hiatus was just trying to get everything set up and just trying to live life. And we are back and hopefully better than ever. So I did want to talk about something that recently that I did with the boys.
Okay.
For those that don't know, I have a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old. And I wanted to do something fun for them that would be a little bit out of the norm. And so we've been to one of these before. We went to the one in Dayton. We went to Comicon.
Oh.
And the Dayton Comicon is not huge, right? You're not getting a lot of celebrities and all this, right? It's more of a comic book show.
Yeah.
So we went to what's called Emerald City Comicon, and I took the boys, and we had a full day. And I will tell you, it did not disappoint.
Really? That's good. I imagine Dayton to Seattle.
Yeah.
Slightly improved.
A little bit of a difference. So, they do all kinds of different, celebrities here, which obviously in the Dayton one we didn't really get. And so I signed up right away when I saw who one of the people were that they were going to have, that I thought the boys would just like die to meet, right? And there was nobody else really on the roster, although there was some really cool stuff. They had the cast from Arrow, the CW series, right? Stuff like that. But the boys didn't really watch that. Like I knew who they were, but they wouldn't know who they were and stuff. But then one of the first ones they announced was the people from The Mandalorian.
Ooh.
The I can't remember what they call them. They're the three that The Mandalorian meets that have taken off their helmets.
Yeah.
And one of them is Mercedes Varnado, who is Sasha Banks for the WWE. And so I set the boys up with an autograph session.
That's awesome.
And also pictures. And that they had no idea. Like they didn't
know. It's a nice little surprise.
The night before when I said, hey, we're going to go do this. Right.
That's super cool.
And it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be.
They're not cheap. And then, of course, the last person they announced for Comicon is somebody that I want to meet.
Okay.
And it was not cheap. But it's really cool. I actually got to then for myself take the boys to go meet Mark Ruffalo, who plays the Incredible Hulk in the Avengers.
Yeah.
So really cool. So really fun day. When they met Mercedes or Sasha Banks, depending on how you know her,
right?
They both walked up and they introduced themselves. It's George and Henry, right? She goes, "Oh my God, they're like the princes from England." Right. It was very funny. She was very good with them. They got autograph and got to talk to her. George is wearing these gold Nike Air Jordans or whatever. And so like, cool. He's like, "Do you like my shoes?" He kept asking everybody. It was hysterical. And
I'm jealous of the shoes.
And then the best part was that we went to do pictures and Henry walks in first and she does not skip a beat. She goes, "Come here, my little prince." Oh my God, it was the best thing ever. The boys just went nuts. Like, like Henry he kept repeating it all day. "Come here, my little prince," right? It was just great. But I wanted to show you some of the work because what I am never, I guess I shouldn't be surprised by the amount of work that goes into the pictures, right? That you get with people who dress up. So I don't know if you can see this, but the Mandalorian was the big one. That was the big, there were so many Mandalorians. George is into anime, so we get like, this is from My Hero Academia. I don't know the guy's name. So you get that. You get, look at this.
Oh, it's Predator.
And he made the clicking Predator. Like click sound. Oh my goodness,
that's awesome.
The work these people do to put in voice modulators. Halo.
So one of my very good friends is part of what is known as the 501st, which is a stormtrooper regiment.
They were there.
Yeah. So it's like a nationwide thing, and he dresses up as a stormtrooper. He is an X-wing fighter. I think he dressed up as Darth Vader once, as Boba Fett. The amount of work and craft that goes into this, and also how hot those things are.
Oh yeah.
I give them so much credit because I don't have the patience or forethought to do any of that. So that is, I always cheer those folks on because you're doing an amazing thing that I would never want to do.
So this is one of my favorites. Did you see Moon Knight, the Marvel series?
I didn't, but I've heard very good things.
All right, when you see it, this will make a lot more sense.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But that's Khonshu.
Yeah.
And then look at this guy.
Yeah, it's just in the background.
I'm like, hey.
Just here. What's that guy's taking a picture over there? Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, like the costumes, and there's so many more. I mean, the characters were incredible. Like it blows me away when I see that, but I will tell you that it was pretty awesome. Like it was just pretty cool of the event and the way to see it. And I got in trouble for taking a picture in an area I wasn't supposed to take a picture in. And they were right on it. They were like, "Oh, we can't take a picture here." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, you lined me up outside, so I didn't see the sign to tell me not to take a picture."
Where was it? What was it?
In the autograph area, you can't take candid photos because they sell the photos, right? So they sell the photograph opportunity. So if you're in there taking pictures, you don't need to get your picture with them, that kind of thing. So
they lose.
You can't take a picture of them signing your stuff. Like the boys got the character from Star Wars Funkos
Yeah.
that Mercedes plays,
Oh,
and then
okay,
she
yeah.
signed
She was
those.
signing
And
that.
then
That makes
I
sense.
took in an Incredible Hulk Funko
Mm-hmm.
and had Mark sign that. But the best part about meeting Mark, and this is so funny, he literally, when you walk in, they ask you who the autograph's for and do you want it personalized. I always get them personalized so they know I'm not trying to sell them. I
Right.
hate that
Yeah.
idea. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm to Dean, right? So, and then he goes, oh, who's Dean? And I go, I'm Dean. And here's the boys. He'd met the boys, right? And he goes, well, hi, I'm Mark. Like,
We
we
know.
already knew that.
We
Like,
know that
that's kind
that
of why
part
we're
is common
here.
knowledge around here.
Yeah. I was like, it's just so weird to have like somebody that you've seen
Right.
in movies. Um, and to be honest with you, my favorite movie from him is the movie Spotlight. It's
That's a
not even
great
a Marvel
movie.
movie. Like Spotlight's a fantastic. He plays a fantastic part in that
Yep.
movie. And that was kind of funny too. But yeah, we stood and talked to him for quite a bit, and literally had a really really interesting like time of him just like talking. Like it was really personable, really well done. But yeah, so in that autograph session area, you can't, because there's people open air signing like this. They'll be going one here, and there's one over
Okay.
here, and there's people over here signing, and so yeah.
I have never been to Comic-Con because I would feel like a bit of a poser, like a fake, because
Really?
I was never I was into comic books until I wasn't. And it's not that I don't
Yeah.
think they're cool.
Sure,
I
sure.
just I just stopped with it. And I wouldn't want to be like one of those people who's like, "Oh, look at that." It's like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm not interested. I'm very
Right.
interested. I guess I've just never had the opportunity, or nobody's like ever been like, "Hey, do you want to go?" But I
Well,
think that
and
would be a super cool thing to do.
here's the other funny thing for me.
Mm.
First of all, it's a vendor show, right?
Yeah,
There's
of course.
all kinds of vendors, and
Mhm,
and there's other parts of it too. You can meet artists who do comics, right? And
mhm,
so like I got a chance, like we were walking through the artist area, and I got a chance to meet a couple of people who are big um artists of comic books who've done covers that I know very well, and and have worked on different comic books that I
mhm.
really love. And I still love comic books. I still collect comic books to this day.
Right,
To my wife's dismay, I've thousands of comic books, which. Um and but there was a couple of things that were like, it's Comic-Con, right?
right.
I saw 4 comic book vendors in the entire thing.
That's it.
And out of those, everybody looking for comic books was at least my age, if not older.
Of- That makes
So
sense. Yep.
so there's definitely a cessation of comic books, right? You
Yes.
could see it literally, like the interest in the actual books themselves.
Mhm.
It was much more original artwork, and
Right.
I believe I've also seen every Funko Pop ever made. Now, Funko's from Seattle, right? They're from
Right.
this area. I've been to their headquarters, right? But I'm telling you, in this vendor area, walls of Funkos I didn't know even existed.
Yeah, there's always one or two that are like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that was a
Right,
I didn't know you made that random
right.
rare character."
And for like the boys, that was what they wanted to see.
Hey.
And then they kept pulling up comic books out of the stack, going, "Dad, do you have this one? Dad,
Yep.
do you have this one?" I'm
Yep.
like, I don't have every comic book made, but
Well,
they're
you
like,
should.
"Dad, do you have this one?" And then I did hold, like for me, like one of my favorite characters is the Punisher,
Mhm.
and I love those books, and I have the original books. The one is the Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's 156, 157. It's something that I should know. I don't, but it's the first appearance of the Punisher ever,
Okay.
and they had one, and I said, hey, can I see that real quick? I want to know the price. And it was graded, right? So it was 9.6.
Right.
And I I said, I'm pretty sure this is like four grand, right? And the guy says, I go, what's, just out of curiosity, what's the price? And he's like, $10,000.
Okay. Just a little bit of a difference in cost there. Oof.
And I looked at my son, I go, hey, you can buy this or a used car.
Yeah, that's you got two options. So for your comic books, are any of them did you have any of yours graded, or are they just
No, I haven't. I have some that I probably could grade pretty high because I've very much understood the value of comic books as a kid. I have some of my dad's comic books from when he was a kid.
oh geez.
Not major ones, and they're not in the greatest condition. I just have them as kind of
Yeah,
nostalgia, because that's how I
sure.
started reading comics. Was I would go to my grandparents and read my dad's comic books that they had saved, And my dad, used to talk about how he had Superman #1. He had Batman #1. And when they lived on the farm, they were in the basement. Basement got flooded. They took on water and they just threw them out because they were
Right.
10
You don't
cent
think it's
comic
going to
books.
be anything. Right.
Right. And so it's weird to hear him talk about, the comic books he used to have that now are worth thousands of dollars.
Right.
Um, I've got to spend more time with my books because unfortunately with all the moving I've done in my life, like I haven't had time to really sit down and see what I really have today because I just have so many books too. It is a little bit of a like adventure to go through them all.
Right.
But I have some books that probably have some value and they're very like the first five-part series of The Punisher. I have every book and I've read them once and they've always been, taken care of. Like I have some of the original Silver Surfer comic books, which now I held Silver Surfer 1 and 2, and it was like, $4,000 of comic books in my hand. Yeah. Yeah. So I have some of the original. I
Blows
think
my
I have
mind.
2 of the first 5 that ever were produced, and I bought them as a kid for like $40. So, there's some return on investment there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I've just always been a comic book nerd, which is why when people like go to Marvel movies and stuff and they're like, okay, who's this? And then I say, oh, well, this is from this
Here's
book and this is
right.
right. And then they're like, well, what's going to happen? I'm like, well, if they follow the books, they'll do this.
Right.
But if they're not going to follow the books, they're not going to do this. So yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, it was a good time for dad, but it was fun to take the boys and it was a long day. I will tell you that right now. Trying to do Comicon in one day, I learned is like you need to figure out what you're doing because it's a long day.
It's usually like Comic Cons usually last 2 or 3 days, right? It's usually like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
This one is Thursday through Sunday, so it's a
Oh,
4 day.
okay. So it's a 4 day. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I could tell. I mean, just with the amount of panels and signings and people coming in and yeah, definitely you could spend a couple days there for sure because it was a long. We were there all day. So yeah, pretty cool to
That's
see.
awesome.
But yeah, and then you had a trip coming up too. So I think after we take a break, then we were going to talk about maybe a little bit of what your vacation plans entailed because they were pretty fun from what I understand.
It was a fun time.
All right, we'll be back right after this. It is the Dino and Joe Show. Hey, welcome back to the Dino and Joe Show. This is Dino. That is Joe.
It's true.
And we were talking about all fun things that we've done. And I know there's something that you did that's amazingly fun.
I
I
did.
have not done it with the family yet. I've been there individually. But you took a trip to one of your favorite places, the happiest place on earth,
It's true. Walt Disney World.
and you went to the World in Florida.
World in Florida. So we hadn't really gone on a vacation since the last time we went to Disney World because of the pandemic, right? Like
Right.
we take care of Tip's parents and we make sure that they're good. We have a lot of different things going on. So we really didn't have a ton of time to go anywhere.
Right.
But I guess it was November of last year. We were kind of like, I brought the idea up. I said, hey, we have been saving up a little bit of money for something to do. We love
Right.
Disney. We haven't been there in 3 years. Why don't we just look and see what's available? So we looked, we found, so we stayed at what's called a value resort last time, which are great, right? Like it's all-star music, all-star sports, all-star movies. They're called value resorts because obviously they are the least expensive.
Sure, of course.
Still a great option, but they're the farthest away from the parks, right?
Yes.
So like they have the most distance to them. They still have the free bus routes and all that kind of stuff, right? Which is great, but you usually hit like 5 or 6 other locations before you get home. So that's the one drawback for not as expensive. We wanted to upgrade a little bit to a moderate resort. So we went to Port Orleans Riverside, which is actually a phenomenal resort. So it kind of looks like old-timey New Orleans. It's really cool. It is very Princess and the Frog.
I was going to say that was my first question that was coming out of my mouth was
100%.
Okay, so Princess and the Frog, right?
Yep.
So that had to have been like incorporated in.
So cool. So
And
much
this is
fun.
a Disney-owned
Disney-owned property, correct.
Okay, yeah.
So this one so it's really nice. There's a river that connects a bunch of different things, right? So you can actually take a boat over to Disney Springs, which is kind of like their downtown area. It's where they have all their shops and a bunch of restaurants and stuff. It's not a park. It's just a place for people to go. That's still technically Disney property to do a bunch of fun stuff. So that's what we did the first night. So we drove down. That's an important thing. We didn't fly, we drove.
Yeah, let's go back here a second. Okay.
Yeah.
So you put a playlist together.
I did.
And this drive was how many hours?
So we broke it up into 2 days, total 18.
So it was far enough that you already had to go, oh, we can't do this in one day.
Yes.
So you drove.
Yes.
And you drove how long?
So we drove, the first part was about 8-ish hours to Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
That was our first stop.
Yeah.
Because I was all for driving it all at once. But Tiff was like, let's be safe. And we don't know where we're going. Let's break it up into 2 days. I was like, fine. So we stopped in Chattanooga.
That sounds
Tennessee.
Like her. And that sounds totally like
smart.
you. Like,
it sounds smart.
Drive it.
It sounds smart on her part. It's dumb on my part, as per usual. We drove to Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
It was actually a great ride. Like, we enjoyed ourselves. As always, I have a playlist. Not all Disney. I didn't want to over Disney us up on the way there.
Did you have 8 hours of music?
I had 13 hours of music. Like literally the day we bought the tickets until like a few days before, I was just thinking of songs. I'm like, ooh, I was watching a movie, love that song, throw it in. Oh, I forgot about this one, add it in. Spotify, who owns Anchor, thanks. Again, take money from anybody.
That's right.
Spotify is very good at finding songs that fit in to like what I'm adding to a playlist.
So did you use the Anchor parent company of Spotify to establish your playlist, to assemble your playlist?
I did. I used them to have a solid base, and then I just kept adding stuff.
Okay. So you used the Spotify program the entire time for your music?
Yes, we used Yeah, we used Spotify the whole time.
All right. I just want to make sure you weren't putting a playlist of like putting songs on your phone.
Oh, no, nothing like that.
Okay.
I was using Spotify the whole time, adding different things.
Gotcha.
So we drive to Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was nice. It was enjoyable. It was a great place to stop for the night.
Yeah.
We went there, and then we drove about 10-ish hours to Disney from Chattanooga.
Okay.
And that was a little bit easier.
So at what point in the trip did Tiff stop talking to you?
She amazingly didn't, either there or back. I think I tamped myself down enough to be, because I knew being locked in a car with me for 18 hours, even just me and myself, I would get tired of it. So we tried to like balance each other out.
And did you at any point have a fanny pack or some sort of bag assembled with all of your needed items for when you travel, including your chapstick and your flashlight? You did, didn't you?
I always did.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes, you did. Oh, you have
so
the
that
bag
was just
already.
So that is my work bag. That is my work bag. That wasn't my Disney bag. My Disney bag was actually a shoulder bag that had So when I go to Disney World, whenever I travel, period, I have everything I need. I don't care what it is. Gum, chapstick, Band-Aids, a charger, Band-Aids, all that stuff, because it's super important, because you get blisters.
I just want to throw this out. You don't have kids.
I know, but I am a large child, and Tiff gets blisters, so I don't know what you want me to do.
Any piece of this that you needed, you could have gotten.
But here's the thing: I'll get to that I'll go over a whole story in a second here.
Okay.
We get to Disney, and it is a sweet feeling, because we're driving 10 hours, and we're at Disney World finally. We drive under the big Walt Disney World. We feel like we're home.
Yeah.
We get there. You can actually take a boat, like I said, from the hotel to this downtown Disney area. We did a little bit of shopping, had some fun, and we went we went near the end of January, and that was really nice for us.
Okay.
And it was very busy that Sunday, but as soon as Monday came around, it was great.
Yeah, nobody there.
We had so much fun. We did all the great things. Now here's one thing I'm going to throw in there. This is why it's ridiculous at Disney. I left our sunscreen in Chattanooga. I must have left it on the thing. I don't know.
Okay.
It was not in our bag, but I know I brought it with. So I was like, I'm just going to run down to the sundry store. That's what it's called at our resort, is the sundry store. Sundries.
Yeah.
Went to the sundry store, and it was a bottle about yay big. About yay big. Do you want to guess the cost of said bottle?
$30.
Close, $23.99.
Oh, I went
And
over though. I
that
would
is
not have won on the
why
Price is Right because I went
that is
over.
why I bring my own things, because I would be poor, I would be broke if I
Right.
relied on Disney. So they're not exactly known for being reliable prices. So we did that. The other reason, this was our last day. I think it was our last day. We
Okay.
were in Hollywood Studios. So that's where Toy Story Land, that's where
Yep.
Batu for Star Wars is,
Yep.
a bunch of great rides. And one of our favorites is the Hollywood Tower of Terror, aka or Hollywood Hotel, the Tower of Terror, right?
Right.
So it's kind of it's a drop, it goes up and
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
we get on this ride. And it's a wait. This is one of the few rides we actually wait in line for. We were fortunate enough. We bought Disney Genie Plus rather, and that allows you to kind of pre-select times when you can come back to go on a ride. So the wait is super short. So we decided to do that just to make the most of our time. We would, go do something else in between. This is one of the rides we didn't do that for. We just waited for it in line. It was about maybe an hour and 5 minutes. For Disney, that's really not that bad.
Yeah.
We get in there. Tiff's next to me. I'm here. The ride starts going, and it goes up and then it drops. It's
absolutely
scary.
Tower of Terror. It's a drop ride. Yeah.
There is a bar in front of me, and that's what I grab. Tiff grabbed her.
Wait, can you do that again? What was that?
She grabbed her seatbelt. Okay, she grabbed her seatbelt,
and
then I hear her go, "Oh, ow, oh." And then I don't know. So I'm thinking, oh, she's just scared. It's fine. We're going up, we're going down. She's like doing her thing, whatever. I see her going like this. I'm like, oh, she's finger gunsing the camera because they take a picture. That's
right.
fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get down and she says, oh my God, something happened. And I'm like, what happened? She's like, I don't know. Something got like my finger. There's something in my finger.
Oh.
And it is, I'm like, I'm sure it's fine. It is turning bright red.
Oh no.
And I can see it pulsing.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh, no. I don't know what's going on. Is there a piece of metal? I don't know.
Right.
And in my head, I'm thinking, was she stung by a bee or a spider, some bite? So we went to the emergency medical tent.
Yep.
And we have determined that she was stung by a bee.
Really?
She was stung by a bee that was probably, so she was wearing a yellow Disney shirt with a black hoodie.
Right.
So she was wearing like bee-ish colors. We assume when you get to the very top, there's these doors that open. We assume one just came in, landed on her shirt. She grabbed at it and it just stung her.
Oh, wow.
And that's the one thing that's great about Disney is because they are kind of a self-sufficient area where they have residents.
That's the one thing great about Disney. You can get stung by
bees all the time.
Stung by a bee there.
Well, they did a bunch of things. Number one, they went to that specific ride and they made sure there was no metal or anything else there. So they immediately got on that to make sure nobody else would get injured. There are like registered nurses, like actual nurses and doctors on site to make sure nothing's wrong. They gave her some medicine and she was okay, but you could definitely see a hole in her finger.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, oh, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, it feels better now, but it was scary. And I'm like, I'm sure, because Tiff does not feel pain. She is not a person. You could break her arm and she'd be like, ooh, that stings a little. I would be like screaming. So when she said it hurt as bad as she did, I knew it was something.
Right.
So she was luckily okay. We enjoyed the rest of our time. It was totally fine. But it's one of our things where she'll be like, hurts still a little bit. But yeah, that was one of the more exciting things.
But you didn't have the proper equipment in your backpack already
I didn't have pain medication for that. I had Advil, but they ended up giving her some anyway. But I didn't have the numbing gel that they put on her finger.
I bet you
like
have it in
a
there
sting
now.
or something like that. I'm gonna have it in there now. I'm not.
I bet you have it.
I learned from my mistakes. I'm like Tony Stark. Like I learned from a weakness and I make it better. But awesome. No, it was a lot of fun. Like we had a really great time. Guardians of the Galaxy is the new ride that just opened up. Earlier last year. I don't know if I've ever been on a better ride in my life. We went on it 4 times.
Then 4 times?
4 times. Over 3 days.
Wow.
Yep. It was very difficult to navigate that, but I figured it out because we both loved it. And I'm like, I don't care. We're going to go on it.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, no, it was, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. We were there for 4 days total. We did 1 park per day, except the last day we got a park hopper pass and we went to all 4 parks.
Oh,
We
okay.
decided we're going to go to our favorite parks or our favorite
Yeah.
rides at each park. And that's
Right.
what we did.
Did you refly the Millennium Falcon?
So that was one we elected to not do. We
Ooh.
decided not to do Star Wars because that one is so busy.
Yeah.
And that was on our last day. We wanted to do like a Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which was such a fun ride.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. We obviously wanted to get a bee sting on our finger at the Tower of Terror.
Right. Why not?
Right. We did the rock and roller coaster with Aerosmith that shoots you at 70 miles an hour, and that every picture of mine looks like this. Because they get you right off the bat. It's the most unflattering photo every time of me. Every single time. It's terrible. What else? Yeah, we just had a lot of fun.
And is Tron Cycle the new one?
It is the new one opening April 4th, I believe, is the day it's opening.
So did you see it? But you missed it.
Yeah. So okay, everybody's gonna think I'm lame. The People Mover. It's a great ride.
So it's literally.
Have you ever been on a People Mover?
I've not been on the People Mover, but
so the People Mover is actually kind of it's a great ride because if you are in Florida when it's really hot, it's a great place to sit down. It moves at a quick speed, so you're getting a nice breeze, and you get to see all the different areas.
It's a nice little. Does not move at a brisk pace.
It does move at a fair pace, but
not really. No,
you can see Tron because it takes you two different ways. We saw it. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I've seen some of the videos online of the test rides, and it looks like it's really interesting. But
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
But yeah, should be interesting. So you're making the return trip then to ride Tron at some point?
Probably next year.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, they should hire you.
I mean, again, Disney, we'll take your money. Well, what do you want to talk about? Disney Plus. It's a great place. Oh, by the way, Disney Plus. I watched some of my favorite not forgotten, but just haven't seen in a while. A Goofy movie. Hello. Such a great movie.
It is a good movie.
It's such a good movie.
That. Yeah.
And the music in that, they did not have to go that hard, but they did. Like
they went all out.
Eye to eye. Come on.
Yeah. It's the Dino and Joe show.